Getting tired of pulling down on the screen and seeing yellow bars, but not understanding whether or not you're profitable? Well, today I'm going to show you exactly how I track my numbers daily so I know what's working, what's not, and what to scale. Hello, everybody. Today we are going to be going over one of my fan favorites, Sellerboard. Why? Because nobody likes staring at the bars and wondering if you're actually making money. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes to dig out their calculator and say to themselves, how much did I actually make today? How much of these sales are actually income? And so we have done this in the premium group, maybe one or two times in the last couple of years, but we're going to talk a little bit about it here in this group. Those of you guys that are new to my group, thank you so much for being here. For those of you guys that are in premium and always come to every event, thank you so much for joining again. For those of you guys that do not have the free setup for Sellerboard for the first 60 days, take advantage of it. There's no credit card required. I put a link in the bio right there. All you have to do is link your Amazon account. And then from there, give it 1 to 3 hours to load. And then you'll need to go in and update all your cost of goods, which we will go over briefly in this call. Now, this is not supposed to be some deep dive on like how Sellerboard this, and this. These are the top 3 things that you would use Sellerboard for that will help you so you can analyze whether or not you're profitable, how you should restock, and how do you stay organized, right? These are all very, very important things when it comes to running your Amazon store. You are not fly by the seat of your pants, pulling up on the bars, bragging to your friends, I just did 7K this week in sales. Nobody needs to hear that. How much did you profit? And can you pay your fucking bills? Can you pay your bills? Can you run around with grandma money and take care of your grandkids? Like literally that's what we're looking at, right? Okay. I think I have to share screen in a different way though. I really do. Okay, so like I said, for those and last week, I was a little short last time because these free events, sometimes we forget that they're free, right? And so what happens is the data is free, the data is available to use, and sometimes it's not valued as well as somebody who actually pays for service. And so again, this is the same concept applies to this. When you have Sellerboard for free for 60 days, you tend to not value its importance because you're not really paying for it. It's the moment that you actually pay for the thing that you realize that you have to use it, and then you start trying to figure it out. 60 days is a very long time. That's a very long runway for you to figure it out. For those of you guys that may have let your 60-day trial, if you will, end, you could just log back in and they'll give you another 7 days, and that'll give you time to just kind of go through some of these basic steps that we'll go over today, and it will really, really help you, okay? So let's go in here and let's share screen. And we are going to use the demo today from Sellerboard. Yeah. Let's see, share screen from here. Hopefully you guys can see it. Okay, great. Yeah, you guys can see it. Okay, awesome. Except for I don't think everybody will be able to see it on the recording after. So give me 1 second so I can share screen a different way. I need to share my entire screen, don't I? Okay, yeah, this will work. Okay, for those of you guys that'll be rewatching it at the end, we're going to be using the Sellerboard demo account. And for those of you guys that don't know how to use this, they actually have a demonstration account right here that you can log into. The tool itself starts as little as $15 a month if you pay annually, so about $19 a month to get it started, right? But free, again, try it for free. If you use my code, see how it says one month right there? If you use the link that's in the bio, it's 2 months. Okay, great. So let's log into their demo account. And we're going to take a look at this one. And we're going to talk about the top tiles and what the first things that we should be looking at, right? So the dashboard itself covers 5 tiles at the top. The first one is sales to date today, sales yesterday, what you're selling month to date, this month's forecast, and last month's. And each one, if you click anywhere within the white, will bring up the items that sold for today, which is great because now I can see what sold today too. And you know, honestly, if I want to click in the middle of this one right here, it's going to take me down and I'm going to get a chance to look at what sold yesterday. And if I want to look at the month to date, I can click on that tile right there and it's going to show me below what sold for the month to date. And then if I'm like, I'm feeling ambitious and I really want to test things, I'm going to click on this last month. Now you can't click on the forecast to show what it sold this month because it's a forecast, right? It's just a projection. But I can go to the last month and I can say to myself, month, what did I sell that month? Now, I was so funny because I was messing around with this demo account yesterday, and the whole time I was thinking to myself, I'm in the wrong business, right? Because the demo account is set up on boxes. I don't know how they did it, but it's kind of set up on boxes, right? So, and they have additional items in there, including advertising fees. But we're going to go back to just today. So, a lot of times people are online and they're talking on TikTok and they're talking about, oh, I did who was on my TikTok. Okay. I'm sorry to keep everybody up till like 2 in the morning yesterday. But if you're on my TikTok yesterday and the guy jumped on there and said he started with 1,500 and he's already profiting on April, 15,000 in profit, I was like, bro, you full of shit. You full of shit, dude. Elizabeth remembers. I was like, bro, you full of, the math don't even fucking math on that. You can't even, bro, no. I was like, but where does that math come from? That was Mo. Yeah, he was into me. Yeah, so this is where the math comes from. The math comes from looking at today's numbers and clicking on more and seeing that the overall ROI for the day is 73%. Time and time again, I have said that if you know what you want to make, if you know what you want to make and profit each month, all you have to do is figure out how much are you making for the month, click that more button, and look at your return on an investment average, or go back to the previous month and look at the average. And on these stores, this is a little aggressive. They're at 241% last month. In this one here, they're more at 200%. And if we were to look at today, they're averaging right here. Today's sales are averaging about here 73%. Now, if you guys want to figure out what you're supposed to, and we've talked about this, you want to make $10,000, you divide that by your ROI, and then you're going to get a figure. Now, this one, if we say my average ROI is 73%, we're going to grab a calculator out and we're going to take that $10,000, which is what I want to make, and I'm going to divide that by point, well, I don't have to 0.73, or I can put 73%, right? I'm going to come up with 13,698, right? So if my ROI equals 73%, and I've divided it, I'm going to come up with $13,000, right? 13,000 that I'm going to need to spend. 13,686, 698, sorry, 698 that I have to spend. Which is why last night in the live call, he said, I started with 1,500, I profited 12 to 15,000 or something like that. I said, you're full of shit because it's not possible, right? So there's your math. If you want to profit 10,000, where do you get the number from? From what you have sold, right? You got to get it from what you have sold. You're not going to come up with, like, you're not going to magically say, well, I've been looking at products, they were about 35%. Well, then you're going to need to spend about $30,000, right? The only real data you have is that what you show in your store. You don't have imaginary, this other stuff that you have, it literally is imaginary. And let's face it. If I am sitting here and I say to myself, well, I'm going to try this MAC makeup. I don't know how it's going to do. That's imaginary until it actually sells. I don't know how it's going to sell. I don't know if I'm going to take a loss. I don't know if I'm going to break even, and I don't know if I'm going to have a profit. I have a guess based on historical information. It is not until it actually sells in my store that I have the confidence and the information that I need to continue to buy more, to go all in, to anything. I have to have data. And this is why I tell people all the time, please do not hang on to product for month after month after month after month. There comes a point where you have to identify it is a loser. It is either going to sell in that lower range that you're not satisfied with, or you're going to break even on it, you're going to lose your money. Just fucking get rid of it. You're not intended to have this grand store. And if you want to be frustrated with it, go into a store where they limit you. Go into a store where they limit you on being able to buy things, and you will understand what I'm talking about when you hold on to your products too long because you think you deserve more money. You deserve more, okay? So we want to make sure that we're not on the other side of that. So this is how we're going to use this. We're going to use this to show our projections for today, yesterday, month to date, and our projected monthly, right? This is going to help us because now I'm checking, am I winning or am I slipping? Am I? This projected monthly tells me if I'm on track, and it also tells me whether I need to adjust before it's too late. Now, if you had been selling very well through Easter and you saw you did this here, let's say 25,878 last month, and then you saw that this forecast for this month was at 14,000, you would know that you need to do a course correction. You have something you need to correct, which leads me back into Tuesday's call. For those guys that are in the premium group, you already know. This is about making a course correction and actually looking at where you can get your money right now, or identifying that you actually did not predict what was going to happen next and you actually did not plan ahead. And so every business goes through it. You're going to have your wins, you're going to have your losses, you're going to need to prepare yourself. So let's go on to the next thing and let's take a look over here. And we're going to go to the next thing, which in my mind's eye, this is the first place I go. And then the next place I like to go here is I like to actually go down to my inventory. So you go, this is profit. Let's close it. And you see how we have all of these little things. We don't need to get into all the details of it. Remember, I'm only going to go over 3 things in here. The first one was the tiles in the front. And the next one is your inventory planner. So you're going to click on inventory and you're going to click on planner. And there is going to be some tiles in here that are so fucking important. They're going to be so fucking important. The first one is how many units you have in Amazon, how many units you have in total. 2,799 units, cost of goods 23,000, potential sales of 3,100. Sometimes your guys' fees do come up and they do show negatives. I have seen that in the past, and that's when you have product that you may have been sitting on way too long. And there is an indication from the platform that last month's fees could result in more fees for you. So if you ever see a negative, there is something you do have to do, and you need to go and you need to research each of the items you're selling to make sure that you're not going to find yourself in the negative, right? But let's look at this a little bit deeper, okay? Inside here, if I've never had a $30,000 month and all I have is a potential sales of 31,000, knowing product is going to sell through and I'm always going to have inventory there, I'm not going to have a $30,000 month. Conversely, if you are looking at this and you see that there isn't a potential sales of 8,009, you're not going to have a 10K month. There's not any money here. There's not enough inventory here. There's not enough cost of goods here. And there isn't enough potential sales here. So this can handle so much for you. So much. So much. Right here in this first tile, as long as you've put in your cost of goods. Now, the simplicity of changing your cost of goods is just clicking right in the box right here and then updating the information. This is a little more advanced. So what I'll do is I'm just going to go back one page. You're going to do it from the dashboard, which makes things a lot easier. You'll hit your month to date and you are going to hit click here and go ahead and update it right here. All you have to do is update the information in the little box right there, hit the enter button, the little wheel will spin, and once the wheel is spun, you can go back over to the planner and the update will be right here in the numbers, right here in the top numbers. It's great. So now we know how much we have there and we know what our potential sales are, and we've never had a $50,000 month, and we look here, we say, oh shit, bitch, you ain't got enough. You ain't got enough for a $50,000 month. You got to get to work, right? So that's one way to look at it. And the next way I like to look at it, which is this. These columns here can be sorted. The first one you want to do is you want to put it in order of how much you have. This can give you a little bump. If I look here and say I have 1,600 jewelry packaging gift boxes, and I say, shit, I might want to get rid of some of those right now. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to check and see where the pricing is. I'm going to open it on Amazon. I'm going to see how it's doing. I'm going to see if I'm competitive. And I'm going to make some changes here so I can get it going. But if I go down the list and I am competitively priced and I pricing, like my price is where it's at, there's not an unusual amount of competition within the listing, then I don't have enough. I don't got enough. So I'm like looking down the line, I'm like, damn, I'm competitive on this stuff. And it's selling as usual, as business as usual, let's call it. It's selling business as usual, few items a day, few items an hour. It's doing what it's supposed to do. I'm not sitting here trying to figure out how to get more out of it. Then what I want to do is I want to go over to here. One first column, reserved, sales velocity, days in stock, and sent to FBA. I want to click on that. Why? Because I want to know, do I have some units gone up to FBA? And in this example here, I have none. It shows I have none. I'm like, shit, I'm in danger. If I don't have stuff that's on the way, I'm in danger. If my sales are low and the stuff is on the way, I'm still in danger because there's nothing to sell. Especially if you have a repricer that won't sell your product. It won't sell it. It won't sell the last two you got. And honestly, it doesn't need to, because if you have to sell the last two to make it on Amazon, you ain't doing it. You ain't making it. If you have to squeeze the last $1 of profit, listen to me. If you have to squeeze the last $1 of profit out of that last unit so that your sales spike and you get a dopamine hit, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. That's not what you're supposed to do, which leads me into the next column, recommended quantity for reorder. A misused and just completely misunderstood column. Every single time you have a product that sells, depending on what the velocity is, there is a recommended quantity for reordering. Of course, the demo is not going to show it today. Of course, and I didn't take a screenshot of it. So, but this is that one. You got 500 ASINs. You're only in stock with 200. 300 of them have data on there. You just ran out of stock. 300 of them have data on there that tell you can go back and stock. And then you say, damn, this says I need to restock 67 units. And then you look and you say, shit, this thing is competitive. There's another 20 extra sellers. Well, guess what? You're not restocking it. It wasn't intended for you to look at it and say, oh, it says 67, let's buy 67. You still have to analyze it. You still have to see, is it still a good opportunity? You still have to do some work with it. Yeah, it's easier. You can find it. You can find more products because now it becomes a shopping list. You created your own shopping list. And for those of you guys that are in my premium group, when I talk about doing a 5-unit, 10-unit test buy, it is nice to have 300 different things to choose from. It's nice because if it's too competitive, you can just say, I'm not restocking that. But if it isn't competitive, you can go all in right then. You can go all in right then. There might be a sale going on. You might look at it. It's got a 200 stamp, 4 sellers on it. And you're like, fuck it, I'm in. I'm going in with 150 right now, right? And this is where time and speed matter. Speed is gold at these moments. But if you have the data, and where does the data come from recommended quantity or reorder? It comes from what's called the sales velocity in units per day. Every product is weighed based on how many it sells. 50% of the weight coming in the first 3-day period, 30% coming in the first 7 days, and 20% coming in the 30-day period. How many of you guys have sent items into Amazon and in the first 7 days sold 5 units? And then said to yourself, I wonder if I should send more. You sure the fuck should. 6 weeks times 5 units is 30 units. Super easy. How many of you guys have sent in 50 units and sold 20 in the first 7 days and then sat there and wondered if you should send more? 20 times 6 weeks, 20 a week times 6 weeks is 120 units. You sure the fuck should. And as many times as I've told people, if you are fast, if there is a sale going on for 1 week and you are fast on the first day and you grab the product and you send those first 10 units in, and it hits that first FC in 3 days and it sells fucking SALESELL, literally got me looking like a child. And it sells out. It sells, it hits. You have 10, 2 get open, those sell in like back to back. One opens, the next one sells. Then you're like, damn, actually that was pretty good. 2 in 1 day, 45 days, that's 90 units. Go buy more and stop babying around. Stop messing around and acting like you can't do the math. It's that simple. But when you don't look at it that way and you need some way to analyze it, wouldn't it just be easier if you had an app like this that was free for 60 days and they could tell it to you? Now, some of the data is delayed. Many of you guys know what I'm talking about. We sold them not a peep out of anybody here. Not a peep out of you guys. But many of us sold those. and the data wasn't in there. And this shit was selling like 30 a day. And you're like, bro, the data's not in there. So the only data you have is what you sold. And so you can do the math. You could do the math yourself. But in the absence of that, and with a lot of listings, you need somewhere to go to. You need a place where you can get this centralized information so that you can actually do the restocks correctly. Now, most of you guys, you've seen, I've done the example. It'll be like, I'll go through my list. It'll say 1,500, 987, 860, 700. I'll go all the way down. There'll be, and many of you guys, you do the math. You start going through the first like 10 of them and you're just like, fuck, that's like $47,000. Hold up. I'm gonna take a deep breath for a second because we ain't doing that, right? Then you're scrolling down to the bottom because you're like, I only need 10 of these. I can do that. You do something that's a little more tolerable, something that you feel like you can control, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because your journey is for you. It is not for anybody else. And what other people do is not supposed to be a comparison to what you do. It is supposed to be a moment when you look in the success channel and you see somebody did their first $100,000 month. It's not because you're behind. It's not supposed to make you feel behind. It's supposed to be an example of how good it could be when you're ready. But if you're not ready, then you don't need to rush it. You don't need to rush it. You take your time. You can do it. Yvette in the house. Good to have you here. Norma, thanks for joining. Sharon's here. Misty K made it as well. Good to have you guys here. Right? So you don't have to do that. You don't have to say there, well, they're doing 30,000. I want to do 30,000. They're doing 50,000. I want to do 50,000. They're doing 100,000. You don't need to fucking do that. You don't need to do that. Do you know how many times my friends have said, but you can do 100,000. You can do 100,000 or more FBM. Why don't you just go do that? Because bitch, I like to sleep. I am not packing 300 units a day FBM to do that again. I'm not doing that. I like sleeping. I'm sorry. And I like things like this because if I'm in here and let's say I'm working with a supplier now, and over here it says my recommended order quantity is 320, I can just pick up the phone and say, hey, you got 320 of those? And how quickly can we get them out here, right? How quickly can we get them to the prep center? How quickly can I get them to me? You can't do that unless you send it in. And you want to hear something crazy? For those of you guys that believe that you have to send 50 or 100 in order to get an accurate restock report, it's not true. And if you're using Sellerboard, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It only takes 5-10 units for you to see that you need to send 300. There was nothing in the rule book that said you had to send 50 or 100 or 200 to get sufficient data to restock. We've had some of our best test buys of 2 units result in having to restock 300 units and made so much money. We took all the pressure off to having to pick correctly and just winged it on 2 units, 5 units. And there's not a secret. This is where it's done, right here. Right here in the recommended quantity for reorder. It's all there. Now, last part of this is a good one. For those of you guys that don't know how all of this stuff works, who are scrambling around for tax day and we're like, I just don't know how to keep track of all this stuff. There's 2 things you should understand about this. The first thing is you can integrate, where is it? Oh, it won't let you do it on the test account. You can integrate QuickBooks on here. I don't think it's going to let you do it on here, not through, yeah, I don't think it, I think you have to be logged into your correct one. You can integrate QuickBooks. And the reports section actually gives you everything you need for your accountant. So while many of you guys are out there saying, well, I'm not sure because, you know, my buy cost today was like $2.30, but it's actually normally $3.49, but I got a really good deal. Well, you can actually put in variable rates, variable cost in there and how many units you bought at that variable cost, and it'll keep track of that. And that's data your accountant needs. You don't need to spin your wheels. You don't need to spin your wheels. And those of you guys that had this account for a while that didn't use it, like I said, relog back in, take advantage of that 7 days, and then get it started again. I think you'd be pleased to see that it actually has everything you need to continue to run your store. And it gives you alerts. It literally gives you alerts when there's mess ups on your shipments, ways to get reimbursed. It's got all kinds of great advantages. I only go over some of the basics. First things first, profit dashboard. How much am I making today? What am I at? Okay, great. How much of that is profit? 266 of my 430 total? Sweet. How much am I making for the month? Right here, 12,000. Oh, good. 5,000 profit on 78. Okay, good. I'm happy with that. How am I doing compared to last month and in comparison? Very good information. Last thing inside of here, if I really like this product and I want to know, should I do more? Aside from restocking, over here, there's a little more button. Just click on it and it literally tells you how good it's doing. It sold 14 units. It had 2 refunds. We come on down, we take a look at the Amazon fees. We're like, damn, this is pretty good. It's good information. I come down here, I'm like, shit, that shit, even with returns, is a 450% return on investment. Remember when I was saying when I was toying around with the demo account and I was like, damn, I'm in the wrong business, right? I was like, I should go into boxes, right? I'm always coming up with something. I'm like, I think I should go into boxes, right? But that's that thing. We're not Trump. We want to see, because let's face it, Amazon Seller Central is just going to give you bars. They're just going to give you the bars. And kids love looking at that shit. They get such a dopamine hit every time they pull on it. They're like, they'll pull down. They're just like, oh. They'll pull down. They're like, oh. Pull down. Ah. It's too much. I'm sorry. They pull it down all day long, right? And then they go on the bars. Mike's like, bars rule. You're very late. This is Thursday. Mike said, sup crowd, Taco Tuesday. He's like, no, it's Thursday, bro. Mel was like, fuck that kids. They be pulling down and then they go into the TikToks and they're like, I'm doing this good. I'm doing this thing. But isn't this what you want to know? You want to know if you're profitable. You want to know what those sales for the day look like. You want to know how much of that is profit. You want to know. You can take the combination. For those of you guys that don't know, I'm going to give you one more thing to look at. Remember, that was the dashboard. This is inventory, and we're going to go to what we said, planner. And remember here where I said total cost of goods? Okay, great. I'll go slow so you can see it. Total cost of goods, 23,978. Then go back to the dashboard. Go to your month to date and look at your estimated payout. Estimated payout and total cost of goods is your money. Now, don't get me wrong. Part of this payout here represents part of the profit. But if you're curious about where all the money you went, where all the money you spent went, it's in there. It's in your estimated payout with your profit plus your cost of goods. And here's the crazy part. I'm not going to show you how to do prep, stock, ordered, and then the total on this side, because this is just a dog's breakfast over here. But if it's sitting in your house, it's not included in here. This is for everybody here. I love you guys. I love all of you guys. But if it's sitting in your house, it won't show up here. It won't be here. It's not gonna be here. If it's sitting there. Even the best plan, even the best laid plan here. Regina's like, I hear you, Wincy. Okay. It's not in there. So you're sitting there, you're like, oh, if it's not in Amazon, it's not in here. If it's sitting in your house, it's not factored in here, okay? So you want to try to grow this number. You want to try and grow it so that you can actually see that your store is growing. Like anytime I see somebody is, I know you're about to turn the corner, you're at 30,000 in estimated sales, you're at 40,000 in estimated sales in there. And I know that you're going to have that comfortable $20,000 a month. That's pretty easy because there's going to be inventory that stays over. So you're not going to sell through everything. It's going to be there and you're going to continue to fund it and continue to put more inventory in there. And as you get better and better at letting go of bad inventory, letting go of bad inventory, you're going to find that it's going to take less and less of an investment on your part to pull off the money that you're looking for. But we have to let go. We really do. And so being able to see it means that you can control it. You need to be able to control it, right? This is not the same as pulling down on your bars. Because when you pull down on your bars, you can't tell what the profit is. You can't see that. You remember what you bought it for. You're happy you sold it for a certain amount, but you can't see how much does that mean you are making. And nobody can jump from their job and say, well, I'm quitting unless they know. You need to be in control. And so each one of these calls that I do is about giving you the ability to take control over this part of your finances and this part of your business, right? Being romantic over bad inventory is the devil. It is. It's like being romantic over pallets. It's like people go, I just want to get a pallet of goods. Like, don't romanticize it. It's not that big a deal. Yeah, it was, I will tell you that the guy that dropped off the 2 pallets yesterday, he had one of those electric ones. I'm like, bro, you're putting that in the garage. I was like, I got a dress on. You're gonna put that in the garage. I was like, yeah, wheel him up there. I said, you got one of those electric ones? I was like, dude, take it up there. You gotta let it go. Autoresponder is a great way to get some reviews for new sellers. It'll send automatic customers review. Melvin, for those of you guys that are looking to try to get reviews, it's automatic. It actually already sends it to the customer to get them to give a review. And anytime that you request that the customer reviews, you're doing it in duplicate. And Amazon always warns you before you do it, right? Oh, is this a different app? Flowers, Norma, this is Sellerboard. It's and I think I posted it right here for anybody. You can get 60 days free using this link. Yeah, you don't even have to put your card in. Okay, let's see. So does anybody have any questions? Because I think more importantly, I just wanted you guys to see how you could determine profits. You could toy around with the with this free demo version for a little bit to see how it works, but this is what you should be looking at. You should not be trying to guess. You should not be trying, and I've been one to use spreadsheets for a very long time, and they're very good at estimating what your profit would be. But in this case, you actually need something that shows you on a daily basis where you're at, so you can make moves and you can decide if something should be restocked or it should not be restocked. I've been many times I have sold something FBM just to see how it does 24 hours. And in that 24-hour period, I can estimate whether or not I want to do more of it. And you can tell just by if there's like most people know, you say, oh, I sold let's see who's here. What's up, Ace? What's up, Marissa? Okay, I can say it out loud here. So you could say I sold Old Bay goldfish, yeah? And you can say, well, somebody bought 4 of them and someone bought 2 of them and 2 people bought 1 of them, right? And you already know it's profitable. But what if you sold 9 of them and they were singles and 1 of them was a double? You'd want to know, was it worth it? And at the end of a 24-hour period, you could go in and you could look at the numbers and you could say to yourself, I am not fucking working for $12, or I did all that work on those 10 units for $20. And it is an eye opener. It is an eye opener in that 24-hour period to click on it and see that you did all that work for that. Now, most people, and we talked about other ones where there was a time where some products used to sell about 100 an hour, and there were some of you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say it out loud, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And we would stuff those things in there on the hour. And there was a point where the price came down so low that you were doing 100 of them for $2. And you were like, $2, $2, $2. And then you got sick of it because you're like, I'm not doing this for $2, right? And it started going down a little bit further. And you're like, $1.50, really? You got me in here packing these? 100 of these for $1. Now, most people, if they're working a full-time job, they would say, oh, that's good money. 100 of those at $1.50, that's 150. I'd rather do that than work my job, which makes sense, But there's a better way and it pays more, right? FBA. And it isn't until you do both. And then you analyze the numbers that you see that it's better the other way. And you say, ah, good. We shut that shit down. We're going to shut it down. Because fast sales are good, but they also pull you off what you're supposed to be doing. They pull you off scaling and they pull you off growth, right? So this is all about growth and understanding how to measure where you're at. So the 3 things you should have learned today was, how do I analyze how I'm doing on a daily basis, yesterday basis, monthly basis, and so I can make changes. How do I analyze the inventory to find out if it's actually profitable and if and how much I should restock with? And lastly, how do I stay organized so that when I come into tax season, quarterly seasons, or anything, I actually have data I can hand off to my bookkeeper, my accountant, and then I'm not struggling, right? I think this is a good one today. I think this is a good one. I think I only took up 3 points so you can't get confused. Yeah. Yeah. There's no getting confused today, guys. No getting confused on it. I'd like to see all you guys try it. I'd like to see you guys use it. If you haven't used it in the past, it's a good time to try it. If you're using it currently, it's a good time to actually make sure you've updated all your information and actually use it like what I said today. The recording will be posted later today. You guys will be able to go back through it in case you missed something that I think is of value. I love all of you guys. Do you have any questions before I end? No? 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 Yes? Regina, stop. What's the question? Go on, type in there. You just messing with me. You want to ask me about my hair? Oh, you put in a question. Check. Can you show where to input the inventory sitting in your house? Yeah, actually I can. Okay, good. Share your screen. I'm going to show you guys that. Can you see it? Okay, great. So this does take into account FBA and FBM inventory, but if you have inventory that's on the way, what you're going to do is you're going to come down to the ordered column right here, and you're going to plug it in right here. And what will happen is it will highlight and auto-populate right here into the ordered column, and then it will be part of the total column, which will be on your right now. Instead of using this, you will now use the ordered column, which will update, and the combination of all three of these tiles will be this one on this side. Regina says, "Oh, is there a place to input shipping cost, or is that a separate video on the calculating? It's on the repricer, or are you talking about Sellerboard?" Oh, on Sellerboard, it's already in there. Every time your products sell, it already factors in. Every time you send it in, it factors in inbound cost. Every time that you sell something, it factors the shipping cost. It's all in there. Every time you sell something FBM, it's pulling it directly from your Amazon account and it's plugging the numbers in there. So it is part of these fees here. So when we're looking at, let me share screen. When you're looking at your dashboard here, it already is in there. Let's say I had, like, this is going to tell you here what I've got in shipping costs, but let's say I was doing FBM, and it'll be right here, FBM shipping cost $36. And it will have also the Amazon fees right here. You can see the Amazon fees got their fulfillment fee, which is equivalent to shipping cost. Yeah. So you have your FBM shipping costs, and then you have your fulfillment fee there. And if you do, let's say your profit looks like it's super low for the day, and you open this up and you click on Amazon fees and you see inbound, it's factoring in everything you paid for inbound fees today. So it's all in there. It is all in there. Everything. You'll see it and you'll be like, damn, the only time you'll be missing data is if when you did not go in here and update these cost of goods. Like I said, all you got to do is click on it, plug in the correct information, and make sure you hit enter one at a time, one at a time. Now, I'd say for anybody who's just starting this and you've had a store for longer than 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, start with the month to date, click on that tile first, anywhere in the white, and then update your cost of goods here. Then go over to last month here and do the same. But you'll have to put in your shipping costs if you send in dangerous goods on FBA. Yeah, that'd be correct, Melvin. Track your profits, scale what works. Free training link below.